Although Marvel Entertainment's television division did a great job bringing back aspects of the Marvel Universe back to the small screen with shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Daredevil, the early promise of clear connections back to the films never really materialized. The Winter Soldier in its first season to change the nature of the show, the programs rarely even mention the film events and never feature appearances from the movies, or even vice versa. But that is about to change now. Marvel Studios now owns and controls these television projects directly, and the first series under this new arrangement, WandaVision, is set to debut in a few days. Despite Marvel Studios' well-known cone of secrecy, we know a few things about the project and can speculate a few other things.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
So let's take a look at those details and guess how Marvel will change the face of its TV universe with WandaVision. My name is Shubham and welcome to Unnecessary Comic Stuff. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. Let's get started. The upcoming Marvel series, WandaVision, is intriguing for a number of reasons, not the least of which is that one of its main characters is currently dead. But we know better by now than to second guess Marvel. So despite the confusion, we are eager to see what WandaVision has in store for us when it hits Disney+. During the company's presentation at San Diego Comic-Con in July of 2019, Marvel Studios revealed a pretty packed calendar for 2020 and 21, laying out plans for a whopping 10 new films and television series centered around various characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You can find a video on all of those projects right here on our channel. Anyway, the Space and Time Twisting series will now be the first entry in the MCU's new chapter with a premiere date set for January 15, 2021. The shakeup comes as a result of the theatrical releases for both Black Widow and Eternals being delayed to later in 2021. The most obvious connection to the films is right in the name. It stars Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, and Paul Bettany as Vision. The latter's character was seemingly killed in the final reel of Avengers Infinity War.
Well, obviously.
So the series starts with a question: is Vision alive? Let's have a look at all of the confirmed characters first. Wanda Maximoff. Elizabeth Olsen is back as Wanda, and while it's debatable which Avenger is the most powerful, Wanda is a strong contender for the title and proved to be one of the team's most effective weapons against Thanos. Her abilities in the MCU include telekinesis, telepathy, and energy manipulation. In the comics, Wanda is an immensely powerful magic user who can manipulate chaos magic, allowing her to alter reality. While we have yet to see that ability manifest in the MCU, don't be surprised if WandaVision delves deeper into the more mystical side of her abilities. Much of Wanda's MCU arc has revolved around her getting a firmer grip on her immense powers while developing a romantic relationship with Vision. Wanda was killed and subsequently revived in the last two Avengers films, and though it's unclear how she reunites with Vision, her array of superpowers should provide plenty of fodder for fan theories. Vision lost his Infinity Stone and life in Avengers Infinity War and was one of the few protagonists to not be revived in Avengers Endgame. He is clearly alive and presumably well in WandaVision, but it's still unknown how he will be resurrected in the show. Though the character is known for his near invulnerability and abilities to fly and shoot lasers, he seems to be living in a fairly domesticated life in WandaVision. Jimmy Woo. Randall Park is back as Jimmy Woo, an FBI agent who wanted to hang out with and arrest, but mostly hang out with, Ant-Man in 2018's Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's about all there is to say about his character's contributions to the franchise thus far. But Park's move from Marvel film to the television gives credence to the theories that Disney wants to make its Disney Plus MCU shows more connected to the films they are based on. Darcy Lewis. Speaking of old MCU characters, Darcy Lewis, Kat Dennings' MCU character, appeared in the first two Thor movies and was mostly played off as a comic relief. There is no word on how Darcy will factor into the plot of WandaVision, but with her history with Thor, she is no stranger to the franchise's more surreal elements, making her an understandable fit for the series. Monica Rambeau. Rounding out the miniseries film-to-TV crossover characters is Monica Rambeau. Teyonah Parris portrays an older version of the character who first appeared in Captain Marvel. The character never met Wanda or Vision in the MCU films, and only time will tell how their paths cross in the upcoming series. A nosy neighbor. Catherine Hahn will play a nosy neighbor in WandaVision. However, while the subtitles on the WandaVision trailer refer to her as Agnes, many clues point towards Han playing the sorceress, Agatha Harkness. In the comics, Agatha and the Scarlet Witch have a long and complicated history, with Agatha acting as Wanda's mentor and teaching her how to use her magical powers. And anything is possible in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Although Vision was one of just a few fallen heroes not to be resurrected at the end of Avengers Endgame, Marvel has confirmed that WandaVision will be set after the Avengers' final battle against Thanos in 2023. But the actual timeline for WandaVision may be a lot more complicated than even that suggests, with the trailer jumping through numerous points in time from the 1950s to today. In 2019, Elizabeth Olsen revealed that her new series would be set in the 1950s, although the trailer seems to indicate that's only partially true. Yet, for at least its first episode, the series committed to its 1950s aesthetic, filming in front of a live studio audience with the crew members dressed in 1950s era clothing. While fans have speculated that WandaVision may draw from certain popular comic book storylines, Elizabeth Olsen said that WandaVision will actually be pulling from a number of different comics. So, while many aspects of WandaVision may seem familiar to comic fans, viewers probably shouldn't expect the series to feel particularly beholden to any individual storyline. Vision and Scarlet Witch have a long comics history for Marvel Studios to pull from the Disney Plus series, leaving the door open to a host of possibilities. Over the course of their existence in the comics, the characters have been both heroes and villains and have gotten married, had children, and faced all manner of opposition from both enemies and allies. While a 6-hour series probably doesn't leave enough time for all of that, at least the writers of WandaVision will have no shortage of material from which to draw inspiration. Originally scheduled to release in the spring of 2021, WandaVision's 6-episode run was intended to end just as Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness swept into theaters that May. However, both have since been jostled around in Marvel's calendar, and WandaVision will now be going on Disney Plus in January of 2021, while the Doctor Strange sequel won't hit theaters until March 25th, 2022. Still, despite their scheduling shakeup, the two tales are likely to be closely linked. Elizabeth Olsen has been confirmed as a co-lead of the Doctor Strange sequel, and Kevin Feige teased that the events of WandaVision will lead Wanda right to Stephen Strange's doorstep. There are a number of reasons why Wanda may ultimately need assistance from the Master of the Mystic Arts. Given the title of the second Doctor Strange film, it seems likely that the events of WandaVision will somehow contribute to that multiverse of madness that Doctor Strange will be dealing with. Whether Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange wind up as allies or opponents remain to be seen, but it's safe to assume that Wanda and Vision's adventures in WandaVision are going to have some unforeseen and possibly magical consequences. Even after playing a pivotal role in 4 films, Wanda Maximoff has yet to be called Scarlet Witch out loud in the MCU. The closest anyone has ever come to uttering her codename was in Avengers Age of Ultron.
That little witch is messing with your mind.
Although she goes by both names interchangeably in the comics, Wanda has always been referred to by her given name on screen. However, if Elizabeth Olsen's comment at San Diego Comic Con in 2019 are any indication, she will finally receive her official codename in WandaVision, along with an explanation for why exactly she goes by that moniker. Chances are it has something to do with her immense, potentially reality-shifting, magic-like powers, and the colors of the energy she manipulates with her hands. But even though the origin of her codename seems rather obvious, it will still be nice to get explicit confirmation of her name and its meaning within the MCU. The brief teaser for WandaVision shown during the 2020 Super Bowl featured a short shot of Wanda and Vision looking down at 2 cribs, then jumping as 2 pacifiers pop up into the frame. The full trailer seems to confirm these are indeed Wanda and Vision's twin sons, Billy and Tommy, whose introduction in WandaVision could have major repercussions not just for Wanda and Vision themselves, but for the rest of the MCU as a whole. Of course, comics fans know that Tommy and Billy play a huge role in multiple comic storylines. Their disappearance leads to the popular Avengers Disassembled and House of M storylines, both of which are significant comic events with lasting repercussions. If any of those storylines are brought to the MCU, the effects could be huge. In the comics, Billy and Tommy also grow up to become 2 of the founding members of the Young Avengers team. While their inclusion in WandaVision may not seem significant yet, introducing the twins leaves the door open for some pretty major developments in the future. As soon as it was announced that WandaVision would have a 1950s aesthetic, some fans began speculating that it may adapt part of Tom King's run of comics for the Vision, which ran for 12 issues beginning in 2015. The Vision followed an entirely synthetic family Vision had created for himself, consisting of his wife, Virginia, and their children, Vic and Viv. The comic's themes centered around family, normality, and what it means to be truly human. As a family of synthetics, the Visions are constantly in search of a better understanding of life, driven by their desire to be seen as normal. Although the specifics would need to change for WandaVision, it's easy to see how these themes of humanity and a family would fit into a series about the MCU versions of Wanda and Vision. After all, the last time these two characters were together and happy in the MCU, they were trying to figure out a way to share in a normal life together, given their extraordinary abilities and circumstances. In another comic storyline, after Wanda's children die, she alters the reality of Earth, creating a new world in which they are alive. This new reality led to the highly acclaimed House of M comics event, an alternate reality arc created out of Wanda's grief and magic. That arc led into the less well-received Decimation storyline in which Wanda strips all mutants of their powers. House of M has long been popular among comics fans and has even been mentioned by MCU writers Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely as a storyline they consider adapting for inclusion in either Infinity War or Endgame. The MCU version of Wanda doesn't have children yet, although the WandaVision trailer hints that may soon change, but her grief over the loss of Vision could work as a setup for a similar story. A House of M-like premise could explain not only Vision's resurrection in WandaVision, but also the incongruous time periods. If Wanda is altering reality, maybe she keeps reimagining what that reality looks like. While the lack of mutants in the MCU means significant liberties would need to be taken with any sort of House of M adaptation, all the other pieces are in place for a grief-fueled story in which Wanda alters the world to bring back someone she loves. WandaVision's head writer, Jack Schaffer, has referred to this series as a love letter to the golden age of television. The show emulates the look and feel of classic 1950s sitcoms, such as being filmed in black and white in front of a live studio audience. Crew members also used period lenses and lighting to capture the vintage look of classic television. Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige even consulted with the legendary Dick Van Dyke while working on the series. The few glimpses Marvel and Disney Plus have offered look like a pastiche of family sitcoms from different eras. Subsequent trailers saw Wanda transforming from a black and white 1950s housewife into an updated version of the archetype across the rest of the 20th century. The recent trailer even makes a meal out of the arrival of color. At the very least though, it gives fans the chance to see Olsen and Bettany in a comic book accurate Scarlet Witch and Vision costume. For his part, Bettany said that the story is so funny and it ends up being this huge epic. If we might speculate for a moment, the use of American family sitcom tropes feels right for the character. Considering Wanda was raised in relative isolation along with her brother Pietro in a Hydra facility, it is entirely possible her notion of a normal family life was informed by watching American sitcoms. As it happens, these sort of shows were regularly exported across the world in our reality, giving the notion of a Leave It to a Beaver nuclear family purchased in real-life Sokovians. Either way, it is clear Wanda is trying to create a family unit of her own using whatever ideas and means available to her. Unless, as the trailer suggests near its end, this is all Vision's doing. The Scarlet Witch of Marvel Comics fame is known for being so powerful that she can alter reality to remove mutants from the world or will children into existence. Though the MCU Wanda has yet to exhibit such an ability, her powers originate from the Infinity Stones and may be strong enough to transport her into various sitcom realities. In fact, a moment late in the trailer sees Monica Rambeau seemingly ejected from a sunny world into a park lit by artificial means. But why would Wanda do all of this? To mourn Vision's passing, of course, or perhaps to find a way to bring him back. And a powerful but disassociated Scarlet Witch would be a good reason to bring in Monica and Jamie Woo. So that sums up our video on WandaVision. Check out one of our newest videos right here on our channel. Plus, even more unnecessary videos related to your favorite comic stuff are coming soon. So, subscribe to our channel and do not miss a single upload. See you next week on Unnecessary Comic Stuff.